So you are dreaming of a trip to Namibia, this beautiful country. Well, buckle up because we are taking you along our 2-week itinerary. We're going to show you all the stops we take. This is our 3,000 kilometer itinerary and we can't wait to share it with you. So let's hit the road. And I have to say, let's hit the bumpy road because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share our itinerary, our 3,000 kilometer, 16 days itinerary. And let me tell you that we started down south and we ended more in the northern part of Namibia because we think that the wildlife in the north is worth spending the last few days. It's like a bonus, it's like a cherry on the cake, on the whipped cream or whatever you want to say. Because the south is more about nature, you'll see wildlife there as well. But in the north, it's all about the wildlife, especially Etosha National Park and etc. That should be your icing on the cake. So let's get started. If you, by the way, only want to focus on wildlife, then I would suggest you go more to the north and maybe the Caprivi Strip and all the national parks there. But we want to have a mixture of things like nature, like a little bit of culture and then wildlife, and that is why we decided on this perfect itinerary. Our first day then, the first real day that we traveled south and we stayed at Bergman's farmhouse, Bergdorf's farmhouse, sorry, which was so stunning. You could also go, which is close by, to the Kalahari Desert. But we decided on this location because we loved the fact that they had rhinos and cheetahs, and this just gave us our first real wildlife experience, which was stunning, beautiful. We even did a nighttime sundown trip, which was also really good. Then it was another 5-hour drive to Lüderitz, and Lüderitz is one of those German towns that from the time that the Germans were here, and there they have a ghost town called Koolmanskoppe. And that was so stunning. It was beautiful. It was overtaken by the sand. The sand dunes had literally invaded the houses that were there, left there by the diamond miners. And a top tip, if you want to start your day there super early and you want to catch the sunrise, then get a day permit. You can get those online and it is worth it because you're there all alone. The sunrise comes through the buildings. Stunning, stunning. We spent the whole morning there. Then the rest of the day we did a little bit of looking around in Lüderitz and we visit the Agate beach, which also was a stunning beach. It was a little bit chilly, windy, so we couldn't go into the ocean and everything, but it was nice. Then the next day, so we had 2 nights in Lüderitz because we wanted to do that early morning day visit of Koolmanskoppe. After 2 nights, we drove to Sesriem. Sesriem is known for Sossusvlei, that nature area that has Deadvlei, the whole dead trees and the salt pan. Really, really something iconic. It was so special because it's the combination of the red sand dunes, the white salt plain, and then those scorched trees. It was out of this world. Beautiful. You need a full day to roam around in that area because it's also a little bit of a drive. So we booked 2 nights at Sossus Dune Lodge, which is inside the 2 gates because there's an outer gate and an inner gate at Sossusvlei. The outer gate opens at sunrise. The inner gate opens 1 hour before sunrise. And if, like us, you want to climb a dune, in our case Dune 45, at sunrise, you need to be in the park an hour before because it's a 45-minute drive and you need to walk up the dune, which takes you 15 minutes. But then you'll be treated to something so spectacular. The line work of the dunes, the sunrise, the orange light. It is really, really beautiful. So do Dune 45 first. Stay inside the gates. You can either book the lodge or book a camping site if you're on a lower budget because the prices are quite steep inside the park. And then after doing Dune 45, you can drive to the Deadvlei with the trees because the sun doesn't come there until around 9:30 anyway. So you can better do a Dune first and then do the Deadvlei. And it's big enough that you won't have other people running in your face or something. So enjoy it. It's beautiful. In the afternoon, you can also do Sesriem Canyon, which is at the beginning of the park, so near Sesriem. It's a small canyon, but it's really beautiful and has some nice caves with a little bit of water. And then at night you can climb Elim Dune, which is perfect for sunset, and it's right at the gate, so you will be back in time to leave the gate, because you have to be out at sunset or an hour after sunset if you're staying inside the park. Well, then we had another 4.5-hour drive to Swakopmund, but not before stopping at Solitaire for their famous iconic apple pie, which is a fun stop. It's a nice stop. It has all these old cars and it's nice. And then we arrived in Swakopmund, or actually we started off in Walvisbaai a little bit, because there was like this mall, and we thought, oh, let's just do some little shopping. And it was really fun to be back in civilization after desert and nature, because all of that was nature all before that. So that was nice. And then we went to our hotel. We drove around Swakopmund a little bit, had some nice German food, because the German influence is real. And then we booked 2 nights in Swakopmund, because we wanted a full day of excursions. Because after doing a lot of nature, we've seen nature. By the way, if you're driving here, you'll see so much stunning nature. Driving here, it is the treat of the trip. It's part of the trip. Even though the roads are very, very bumpy because of all the gravel, some parts are worse than others, but the stunning nature that changes every 20 to 30 minutes. You'll be in a completely different new area, and then some of the wildlife here and there, beautiful. So, back to Swakopmund. So, after our first night, we got up early, drove to Walvisbaai, and there we booked a sandwich harbor tour. You go on a jeep, a 4x4, with a guide, and they will take you through the dunes. And this is such a roller coaster drive. You'll drive next to the sea and the ocean and the dunes, because this is the unique spot in the world where the desert meets the ocean. You'll have sand dunes right up to the sea level. Beautiful. And then we went into the dunes. It was like going down a roller coaster, super steep and super high climbs. It was really awesome. And they even prepared like a little snack lunch kind of table with really luxurious snacks, and we even had some bubbles, even though we don't like bubbles that much. But it was just fun with the view of the beach and everything. Gorgeous. And you just have that feeling of being all alone in that beautiful area, even though there's more jeeps driving, but they always find a secluded spot so you don't feel that you're crowded with tourists and everything. When we got back, then we drove to Swakopmund again, and there we had some lunch, and then we booked a quad drive into the sand dunes. That was such a thrilling drive. I had been on a quad before in a desert in Egypt, but that was nothing compared to this. That was just slow driving. This was really going up the dunes, down the dunes again, sometimes really steeply into, for me, it felt like the abyss. It felt like a straight down a hole. And you'd have to trust, because you couldn't brake, you have to trust your engine that it will slowly drop you down. Well, that was really something. And the highlight of that part was as well that we stopped at a specific dune where we could sandboard down the dune a few times. That itself was thrilling again. You lay on a board, they push you down, and then it's really fast. And we did it like twice per person, and that was awesome. Even though the next day I felt a little bit of pain in my chest, because when you come down, it's like a bump, and then you go on. So I'm getting older, and well, anyway. Awesome day in Swakopmund. At night, and this is a top tip, we went to Hafeni, which is a restaurant, a locally owned restaurant in a township, and there they serve the traditional national Namibian food, local food. You have to eat with your hands. The flavors are really like the flavors of what the people in Namibia eat. At least that's what I'm told. There's even a little a cappella choir that comes in and sings for you. So beautiful, stunning, super special. We even tried the mopane worms there. You have to check out the food video to see if we liked it or not. So just make sure to check out the food video because you'll get some good tips on what to eat and where to eat here in Namibia. So Swakopmund was done. Then we drove on to the Spitskoppe Mountains, which was beautiful area, really special compared to other places that we've seen in Namibia. And there was this arch rock, which was fun to take some pictures and to see. Then we drove on to our next destination, which was on Jamba Hills, and that was just known for their beautiful setting on a hilltop and overlooking a valley with mountains and hills. They were said to have elephants, but right before we came, they moved to a different location because that's wildlife, right? They never stick in one place. But that was because there was a lot of rain and this area was too wet for them to stay. Normally they would stay in this area. So if you go to this spot, you will normally be lucky with elephants. But it was a stunning resort. Nevertheless, we had a great time. The next day we drove on to another location for one night. So we've done a few one-nighters. And this was the Mountain Peak Lodge because it was also well known for having rhinos and having other wildlife there. And we definitely saw some rhinos, which was perfect. We had a game drive at the end of the afternoon and then a sundowner trip, which is lovely to do. You will definitely have to book a few sundowner trips when you're here. The resorts will all offer it to you when you arrive. When you check in, they will ask you, do you want to do a sundowner? Do you want to do a morning game drive? So you don't have to book those in advance. You just show up and they will ask you what you want to book. But at Mountain Peak, the sundowner was the most luxurious we had. There was a little fire, there was snacks, there was chairs, there was a beautiful spot to see the sun go down. Epic, really nice. The next day we went into Etosha Park because we were rather close to Etosha Park by now. And we did a 4-hour visit to the park, and we decided to move up a little bit north, in the north area, because we would go from west to east the second day. So this was a stunning area, and we saw so many animals, and we even got we even got treated to a cheetah under a tree next to our car, and then it walked in front of our car and went into the plains again. It was so magical, so stunning. And then we stayed at the Okutala Game Lodge, Okutala Etosha Game Lodge, sorry. And that was only like 40 minutes from the gate to Etosha, so a perfect location. And let me tell you, we should have stayed 2 nights here. This was so beautiful. They have their deck where you sit for dinner, and there's the waterhole down there. And at night, rhinos. We had 6 rhinos coming there. We had the elephant that is living in the park. They have more elephants, but this one comes to the waterhole a lot. We had the giraffe come to the waterhole. We had all the springboks and all that little the smaller animals coming as well. But the interaction between the elephant and the rhinos, because he was teasing the rhinos a lot, seeing that when having dinner, the sun going down, it was such a magical moment. It was really special. And the next morning for breakfast, in the morning, the Springboks were doing their morning exercises, which is the jumping. It was so crazy and so fun to do. They were just really playing around. It was so fun. Then the rhinos came to drink in the morning as well, and the staff then because we were the only ones there at breakfast, because we are like in the shoulder season. This is June that we're visiting, and the high season, the peak season, starts end of June. So they asked us, do you want to go down to the rhinos? Because there's this little hideaway where you could observe the rhinos from the water level. So we were at the water level in a secluded cave kind of thing. The rhinos were right in front of us drinking the water. It was so beautiful. And then a little sunrise moment. It was magical. After that, after breakfast, we drove into Etosha again for a full day drive. This is quite exhausting because you're watching, is there a lion, is there an animal all the time? But you do need a full day to drive through the park because you'll be stopping for taking pictures and everything. We were looking for elephants and lions because all the other things we've seen before. The lions, unfortunately, we didn't see because it's hard to see them. Some people did see them, we heard at the end, but yeah, you never know. The elephants were, in this case, in this part of the year, or at this point in time, they were at the east of Etosha, so we took some time at the end to also go up to the east a little bit more. And right at the time when we thought we had to turn around and go back because you need to leave Etosha Park at sunset, there they turned up. They showed up. They came out of the bushes. 6 elephants right there. So beautiful. They were drinking water. They were outside of our car, really like here. And it was really intimidating as well, a little bit. One of them flappered their ears and like, move out of my way. Then we drove back and we saw a car and it stopped and we said like, hey, there's elephants over there. And they said, well, there's elephants over here at the water pool as well. So we drove in there as well to see another group of at least 11 or 12 elephants with 3 baby elephants drinking water, bathing themselves, throwing dirt over their backs and walking into the bushes again. This was like a 10-minute or 15-minute moment and we caught it and we were so lucky. Stunning, stunning, stunning. And seeing a giraffe drink water when it's bending its knees, whatever. It was beautiful, beautiful day in Etosha again. And then we ended up at the Mushara bush camp. This is where I'm at right now filming this video for you for one night, which is just 10 minutes outside of the gate at the east side of Etosha. So perfect spot and really beautiful, beautiful tented camp, really good food here as well. And they offer game drives into Etosha. So if you don't want to do Etosha on your own, you can book a game drive here. They do full day tours, half day tours, whatever you want. So for our next 2 nights, which will be our final nights, we are going to Otavi. I'm butchering the name. I'll put the name down below because it's all of these names. It's very hard for me. Which to a large camp near Waterberg, which has that plateau overlooking a whole area. It's like a flat little mountain area, and there they have black rhinos. They have even had some monkeys there. There is another smaller national park that we'll visit. And because we have 2 nights there, we'll have a full day. We can go on organized tours with the people from the lodge. And then the last day, we have some time to drive back to Windhoek. Maybe we'll have a little bit of time to see a little bit of the city that we didn't see on the first day. And otherwise, we'll just go to the airport and fly back in the evening. That's our itinerary. And I can tell you, it was really, really awesome. We saw so much from this country, this beautiful country, with beautiful people, beautiful animals. Check out our when to visit video, check out our food video, check out our adventure vlog to really get the vibe of what we experience here, the fun stuff, the crazy stuff. You'll love it, I think. And I have one note on the itinerary. Like I said in the beginning, if you want to focus on wildlife, then make sure to book some extra time near Etosha or visit the Caprivi Strip or visit some other national parks, but then you'll have to maybe cut out a little bit of the southern area in our itinerary, or you need to have 3 weeks, a full 3 weeks, then you'll be set, you'll have enough time. We skipped Fish River Canyon, which is all the way in the south because that's another rather substantial drive. And we've seen canyons before, so we decided not to do that. We also decided not to include Quiver Tree Forest because that was a little bit off the route and it would have taken us another few hours as a detour. But you'll see quiver trees in the rest of the country. Not everywhere, but they'll be in specific areas. And there's one between Sesriem and Swakopmund. There's this quiver tree parking spot, but we saw them actually a little bit before on our drive from Luderitz to Sesriem. That long drive, it's a 6-hour drive. There we saw some quiver trees as well, and that was beautiful. So that's why we decided not to include those 2 spots in our itinerary. I hope this video was useful. Feel free to pop in any of your questions in the comment section down below, then we'll answer them, and you can also find our contact details in the description box. We'll have some links in the description box, so feel free to contact us for any other questions. But let me tell you, Namibia, stunning, amazing. I'm gonna sit here in the sun a little bit before we drive on to our last destination. See you soon. Bye.